Alright, so we've got our miniature skate park here, which is just a series of steps, foam, and then painted and undercoated in a dark grey. So what we're going to be doing today is dry brushing with a lighter grey. So we're going to dip our brush, make sure it's nice and soaked evenly, and then we're going to wipe most of that paint off the brush. Easy way to test how much you've got left on your brush is to rub it on the back of your hand, and that'll give you a good indication of how much paint is left. And you don't want a lot of paint, you just want just barely enough to show up on your piece. So what we want to do here is concentrate on the edges and corners, and then just lightly scrape along the flat areas. So we keep going. All on the edges. And then using the flat side of the brush, we drag it along the flat surfaces just to pick up the highlights. And then, yep, when there's no more paint left, re-dip your brush, cover all the bristles, and then wipe most of the paint off again, and then check on your hand to see how much paint you've got left, and then keep going. So then we're doing the steps, so dragging up and down, left and right, concentrating on the edges and corners on each individual step, and then we do the actual steps themselves, so the flat surfaces of the top of the steps, and then the flat surfaces on the insides as well. We don't want to go too much into the recesses because that defeats the purpose of highlighting. So we want to make sure all the surfaces are lightly covered, but just concentrating on the edges and outer edges and sides. And then we do the remaining sides. Again, lightly dragging with the flat side of the brush along the edges, along the sides. Just making sure no parts are missing. So you want a really light grey coverage over most of the surface. And here is the finished step. So we've covered all the surfaces, all the steps and all the edges, and we've concentrated on the edges, giving it that three-dimensional effect. So it stands out and it pops just a little more. So now we're on to the next part of the project.